Hello, welcome to the show Behind the Lockers. And today we have here Valery Chakalkin with us from Jetbeep. How are you doing today?
Hello, Andre. Thank you for having me. Yeah, doing great. Um, Thank you. Excited about it.
So let's talk about your company and your products at first. So, what is your product? What are you doing exactly with the Jetbeep?
Yeah, overall, we're a company that does IoT solutions and products for businesses. We actually, as a company, we started from retail, and we have a device which connects to the point of sale. We and all transfers loyalty, and then the main thing is identifies customers in stores. We started with that, but actually about 2.5 years ago, we did the first prototype for parcel lockers. We had our partners approach us and ask us if we can do a autonomous locker, and we could. We did a prototype really fast. I have a video of it somewhere, of the first prototype, and we were actually very excited about it. And that's how we got the first project. And from there on, we started developing the product. We started getting more and more projects, and yeah, here we are.
Okay, so your main product is autonomous parcel locker and everything around that one.
Yes, right now we see that again we see great traction on the market, so that's why we want to really focus as a company, completely focus on parcel lockers and everything related to that. We see the industry, even though it's a relatively small market, so the parcel locker market is somewhere around 1.5 billion annually, but still we see that the market is very open. It's much easier to get contracts, to get leads, to get customer engagement with our customers and talk through and potential partners. Everyone is excited. Everyone is eager to know more, which is definitely not the case in uh, industries like retail and where everything is legacy based and pretty old school, or public transportation for that matter. It's very hard to get in. Here it's much easier. As for our product, so we have I can share some slides with you.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, it's about we do have the parcel locker controller. So we yeah, this is the main product. So again, assuming we have a great expertise in IoT, and we've done hardware to software platforms for the last 9 years, like microcontrollers is what we're focusing on. So yeah, this is the main board. You have the locks connected here, so it supports 16 locks. You have the pin pad, the battery, the LEDs. So yeah, pretty much everything is supported. Right now, we also have internet connectivity, so you can yeah, have a SIM card there. So it's just all in one. Yeah, so when we basically provide autonomous parcel lockers as a whole. So together with metal, we do have partners who are doing the metal. We just sell controllers as a separate as well, and we also do out of the box solutions for mostly for small medium enterprises, which don't have, because large enterprises they have their own systems. From the architectural point of view, yeah, so that's the main controller. You have the metal housing, it connects to the locks, pin pad, the battery. We have an optional power supply, so you can also always connect it to power source if you have that opportunity. But again, that's optional, so it survives quite long on one battery. Bluetooth and 4G connectivity module plus antenna. So that's the from the hardware, and from the software we do have the embedded software with actually this is the main know-how, because it has to be optimized in terms of battery life, in terms of memory, since it's a microcontroller. We have the mobile SDKs, which makes it very easy to integrate for developers or for customers in-house team or for system integrator. It makes it much easier because we manage all the we just provide the methods, and we manage everything inside underneath uh, the box. Uh, we do have cloud components, so we have both parcel management and device management. Device management just recently got a huge update, so we got a full monitoring system. So it's like more network monitoring system for understanding like where's because the connectivity and the signal strength for the 4G operators and technologies we use are actually the main thing which impacts battery life. So that's why we do have to monitor it to understand what's going on and to fix it on the go. So we can change technologies, change operators. That's really helpful with that. We have the backend Locker utility. This is the main component, which is basically a Docker container, which is can be installed in our servers or in customer service servers. So we're very flexible in this regard, and it's integrated with their parcel management systems. And we have a service and demo app, which is very helpful for both the integrator or the in-house development team who is integrating our solution, so they can test, because this actually removes so many questions and issues in integration, because they can always have a reference and see how it should work and then implement it the same way in their systems. And you can also test on the fields, so it's also very helpful to test on the field, so you can have a direct interaction between the app and the controller, check everything, transfer telemetry data, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's the product. That's our product. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's really fascinating, and I see many interesting points you were taking there. Let's talk about also your potential clients. Who are your clients? Are you looking for retailers, for carriers? You are going direct to the client, or what's your business model as such?
Yeah, great question. So usually our end clients are enterprise carriers. So, for example, GLS, companies like DPD, Omniva, the ones who manage potentially InPost, we collaborate with them, but we don't work with them yet. So the bigger the better, of course. So those are the end clients. We of course work through partners. This is our strategy. We usually partner with local players. Those can be either locker manufacturers, those can be system integrators, those can be companies which are installing the networks. This can be application developers which develop apps for those companies. So usually a company which already has a touch point with a potential customer, we partner with them, we enable them to deliver high-end technology products and solutions. So meaning that we see that we have an edge, and we do have a bunch of competitive advantages over our competitors. And we basically we help those companies deliver and then continue working and provide innovation to their existing customers, and we all benefit from that. So that's the overall model, but this is like the main one. The other one is we are seeing a lot of interest from SMEs, like small e-commerce retailers. They maybe not small, but in terms of volume, they're small. For example, they have 10, 20, 30, 50 lockers. We do have some distributors which have 100 plus locker networks. For example, an exciting project is about car parts distribution. So there are some smaller customers where we provide like a turnkey solution with our system. We do have a parcel management software as well. So we do provide that for those smaller customers, and we see a big opportunity here because of course the margins are much higher there. So it's quite exciting to see that. And we do have a third business model which I'll talk about a bit later.
Okay, cool. But let's go back to the technology side right now, because these autonomous and battery-powered lockers are sort of new thing in the market, and there are a lot of innovation involved, especially due to power consumption requirements. So please elaborate a bit about the connectivity security issue, because I've heard from many clients that this is actually a big issue. There are several communication standards and bandwidths, and how have you solved this problem for your clients?
Yeah, great question. Yeah. So actually, the autonomous lockers have been around for a while. The only thing that they were usually mostly mostly app operated only. So you didn't have any other chance to get either telemetry data or open the locker without the app. So that was not possible. Recently, and we see our competitors also coming along and developing their solutions with internet. But the main question is how you get there, because we've just seen a autonomous locker controller plus battery, which costs over €1,000, which is not something not something we're up to. Our controllers are better priced, definitely, along with the batteries. So still, our price is much better, but coming back to the question, it's the main thing is how do you really get there, and meaning by what, how do you reach autonomy? We see there are many options here. Of course, we have the company which we took away from a lot, which is Nova Posta. We really love their approach. They were our inspiration for quite a while. But they use motorcycle accumulators, for example, and they replace them every couple of months. In Ukraine, the labor is very cheap, so this is one way to get there. I mean, this would not work in countries like Norway, I guess. But in Ukraine, it works, and that's fine. The other option is you get solar panels on top, and meaning that you constantly recharge your batteries. First of all, it's more expensive. Second, it's quite tricky with the installation. The thing is that in the winter time, this is the research we did. In the winter time, those solar panels can generate 30 to 50 times less energy. So that you only have 1/30 or basically a couple of percent of the capacity of the recharging capacity in the winter time compared to summertime. So this is a big challenge as well, and it makes the solution more expensive, because apart from the accumulator, which is also more expensive, you need an inverter, you need a solar panel, you need the installation becomes harder because you have to point the solar, and then again you have to do all this math with recharging and how long should it last. So it's also quite challenging, and again it makes it more expensive. Another approach is this is what I just told in the beginning, is that there's you can just pump in a lot of ampere hours from start, but that makes it really expensive as well, and I mean, it can last for 10 years, but it's also quite expensive. So these are the approaches which you can use. We use an approach which we believe is the best, because our controllers are actually supporting, right now we're adding the batteries. We work on 12, or now we're actually 12 volt, or we're gonna change to 5 volts as well, because there are locks which support 5 volts. So this makes it even more efficient. But even with 12 volts, we do have a battery pack which is quite cost efficient, and very effective. So we have 4 D-sized batteries, like a regular D-sized batteries, and we can work years on those. The reason for that is that we're very we optimize the battery life a lot, because in every use case we do, so every telemetry transmission, every lock open, and so on and so forth, every scenario, every use case is very optimized in terms of battery life. So and the software is also optimized in terms of battery life and in terms of memory, so that we can easily transmit a new firmware. So we do have firmware updates as well. So this is the main know-how of our company, is actually optimizing it to a way that it is possible to survive for many years on this one battery pack. And the batteries are not so they're below €100 pack. I would not say the exact price, but it's below €100 battery pack. And in a couple of years you can just replace it, and that's fine. You don't need to spend thousands of euros, for batteries, as some of our competitors actually do. Uh, Another thing is and what plays in the most important thing is actually the connectivity then. So when you want connectivity and you need a method, and there actually we see legislation. What's interesting, we see legislation in many countries, in some countries actually. We know for sure that one of those countries is Hungary, where the government is forcing the operators to have an alternative method, opening method, uh, not just app operated, but actually have something else and have a screen, or support a QR code or PIN code. And this is where actually it's very important, because we do have a PIN code, and we do have connectivity. So that's why we can actually transmit the PIN codes to the locker. And they can be opened by just the person without an app approaching and opening it. But then the main thing is, how often do you connect to the locker? What's the signal strength? What technologies you use? So we specifically use NB-IoT or LTE-M. We have our products working, commercially operating in large scale projects on both of those technologies. What we can say that NB-IoT is around 10 times more effective than regular LTE, and LTE cut M, which is LTE-M, is about 5 times more efficient than regular LTE. Even though we do have a product with just regular LTE, but we mostly use it for demo kits, where we just send a customer, so that we don't have to worry about the technology being supported, because usually we do have to exchange a couple of emails with the provider, with the internet carrier. There's some specifics here and there. So, but for example, in Latvia we have LMT. We have projects with LMT going on. We have projects with Orange. We have projects with T-Mobile. So with those operators we're working. We're currently testing a few agnostic operators, I would say, or the ones which are like virtual. It's called virtual operators, which are already interconnected with many operators on various technologies, and we can just have one SIM card, and then choose the operator which has better coverage in that or this area. So yeah, but there's a lot of challenges with connectivity, because the signal strength impacts battery is the main factor here. And what I can say is that the signal strength can change the battery life tenfold, 10 times. So if you have great signal strength, then you can survive 10 times longer than on bad signal strength. We know some of our competitors use LoRaWAN as a technology for transmitting telemetry data. We have dealt with LoRaWAN in our previous company, so we do have experience here. We know for a fact it's really tricky, because you need coverage. It's not provided out of the box across the whole country as regular operators do. You need coverage there, and that may be challenging. I'm not saying it will be 100%. I know in the US it's better. The situation is better, because their LoRaWAN is much more popular than in Europe. In Europe, actually, mostly the regular operators are dominating, which use NB-IoT and LTE-M. Another thing which I have to mention is that NB-IoT is a separate frequency than LTE, and LTE-M is the same frequency. So we also, since we have both technologies supported, we sometimes switch operators if that's required, or we switch technologies. So we can have the same project in one place we have, let's say, Orange NB-IoT, and in the other place we have T-Mobile LTE-M. This brings a lot of flexibility, and this actually allows our batteries to survive longer and for years, and without the need to replace them very often. So yeah, those factors are really important, and those of course are not usually highlighted in the marketing material of our competitors. because you have to take those into consideration definitely. And the approach you use, because it can be autonomous with connectivity on the paper, but in reality, the devil is in the details.
Yeah, and it was one interesting thing I figured out from previous discussions with you is that usually the clients demand that the parcel locker should be online 99.9% of the time. But actually, this is not the case in a sense that you actually need to deliver 99% of the data when it's needed. And this is a trick how to provide this frequency when you need to exchange data, not to be all the time online.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only possible without. I mean, of course, you can have an accumulator, really large one, and then be online all the time. But yeah, then there's also a thing called PCM, power saving mode, on the operators. So you can, yeah, it's. But we tested it. We had some big hopes on it, but actually it turned out not that big of a not that big of a deal. Yeah, but not that big of an optimization of power supply. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible to have to be always online, and you don't need to be always online in an autonomous locker. We actually know one of our competitors, engineers. I won't say the name, but yeah, they didn't realize that it can be. Actually, we have a few competitors like that, which didn't realize that be online only a couple of times per day. Yeah, so we do it a couple of times a day. So basically, you need to transmit telemetry data when something happens. For example, a parcel is picked up. Uh, so we have door status. So you need to transmit that the door was open, somebody picked up the parcel and closed the lid. That's basically when you have to transmit some information. And you can do it separately every 6, 4, 8, 12 hours or so. Yeah, so that's the approach we use. The thing is that the also an important thing is that you can also transmit. So we support both use cases where you can transfer all the telemetry data through a customer's app. So when somebody is approaching with an app, either the courier or the client, we can use their connectivity. There we connect to, and our SDK supports all those use cases. You just have to build upon those methods inside and use those possibilities in our SDK. Unfortunately, not all of our customers do it. Mostly they rely on internet connectivity, which is we completely understand. We actually started with no internet connectivity. We recently added it about a year ago. But you can. It's best to rely on two sources, two channels of traffic. One is through the SDK, through the mobile app of the courier or the client, and the internet connectivity as a separate channel. And if you can't get and of course Bluetooth connectivity and through the mobile app is much more efficient. You don't need to again, this is a regular. We use Nordic Semiconductor chip. It's very optimized. Big shout out to them. We are using their chips for all the time, and they have the best stack, and they Bluetooth stack, and they're also very optimized in terms of power consumption. So yeah, thanks to them, and they're very helpful in the very beginning. So a little bit of free advertising for them. But they used to send like free, demo kits to us when we needed them. And like next day, we just wrote them a message, and next day we had the demo kit in our door in Kiev, Ukraine. So it's not something you get from everyone. But anyway, yeah. So they're really optimized, and that's why it's much better to use internet connectivity of the client or courier. But Also, we have the pin, if you use a pin code, so all the pin codes are actually preset on the controller, and there's a bunch of them ahead. So we just every time we provide a new pin code, actually it's already stored on the. We just transfer it to the person who has to open the lid next time, the compartment next time. So we don't have to really go online all the time, every time a compartment is open. So we can like transfer 10 codes per and since there's like, for example, 6 digits, we can easily do that. So for every compartment, you can have a few codes, 3, 5, 10 codes preset, so that it can really operate for quite a while. So it's actually up to the client how they want it to, to go online to transmit telemetry data and so on. Yeah, and the reason why they're so demanding is that they are not being responsible for the battery life. If they would be responsible for the battery life, then they would think it over many times and change their approaches and so on. Right now, they're trying to just guarantee us some battery life, and we need this and this times per day, connection.
You mentioned here several times a Bluetooth
Yeah.
connection. So let's talk about a bit how to enlarge the compartments. As I know, you are using also Bluetooth connection there to connect new compartments.
Yes, exactly. We our approach is quite straightforward. So we have our controller. We have a controller per column approach. Again, assuming the controller is really cost effective, so we don't need to have again, opposing to standard approach where you have a server compartment and you have to to share the cost across as many, the cost of the server compartment plus a screen, usually plus more complex installation. You have to spread this cost across as many compartments as possible. In our case, we can do any size because we have like a one controller per column, and they're interconnected between themselves wirelessly. So we have like a thing called like a concept of Bluetooth mesh. So we don't need wires between them. So you can add as many columns and then remove as many columns as you need, and this makes the installation so easy. You just, if you need, and we actually do have projects where we needed to add or remove columns from those locations, and it turned out very very easy, and again, you save a lot of first of all, you save a lot of wires. Second of all, you also save energy, because the longer the wire, the more energy you lose. So that's another problem, which we also solve. So actually, if we have customers, this is actually a tricky question. We have customers which are trying to cut the cost by saying that let's have more compartments per controller, more locks per controller. I mean, let's maybe do like an extension board or stuff like that. But then the energy you use and the battery is getting drained much faster eventually, and then you also lose money on installation. That it actually doesn't make much economic sense to change the approach due to those factors. It's actually easier to have just one controller per column. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, I know that I can talk to you hours and hours, but we have to wrap up. I think you had something to say about the third business model
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the beginning. So now is the time to reveal this one.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up again. Yeah, we are collaborating with a few partners right now where we are looking into basically managing agnostic networks for with autonomous lockers. So the thing is that we see those two concepts exist separately. So we see agnostic networks out there, but they're using standard lockers, sometimes very expensive ones. Uh, on the other hand, we see autonomous lockers, and we see the benefits, and we see the, again, as a company which is delivering those projects, we see how much money we save to our partners who are installing, for supporting, integrating, rolling out, approving the installation process in the first place. So there is a huge optimization there. So we were wondering why nobody has combined those two, and we have actually found partners which are interested to support us in this endeavor. We have found partners which have integrations in place, and we are elaborating on that right now, and we are really excited about it because yeah, it seems that if you have great places and you have all the required integrations with the local players, you can be really cost efficient, and the ROI is quite high with those kind of product solutions, so to say, on the market. We see many untapped markets. We see many untapped cities, big cities, where it's almost impossible or very hard to install standard electrical locker because you can't get a wire everywhere you want. And fortunately for us, all the big players for now are using non-autonomous lockers. So players like InPost, players like actually DPD is using some autonomous already as well. But they're still mostly app operated. But yeah, we see mostly the big ones are using the non-battery, non-autonomous approach, non-autonomous lockers, which is very hard. Again, it's very expensive, very hard to install, support. The terms are different. So yeah, we're really excited about that. So if somebody is interested to collaborate with us, so we're very happy to we're very open. And again, we're always there we can always share our technology. So if you want to do the same thing based on our technology, we can enable that. And yeah, so we're very open. Again, that's very important. We love the idea. I know of a company. I had a call yesterday with a guy from Great Britain. There's a company called Yeep, which is doing a similar concept in London. I was actually very happy to know that somebody is doing it, because it sounded really strange that nobody is doing it. So it's great that this idea is there. We know Amazon is using autonomous lockers, but they're not as cheap. And they're quite expensive. Yeah, but they're also thinking about it, and we want to collaborate with Amazon, one of the players which we want to collaborate with, and they're actually also pretty open. Yeah, so that's the idea. Yeah, we're really excited about it. The main reason why we're excited, because as mentioned in the beginning, the parcel locker market is quite small. It's 1.5 billion, but the parcel market, the last mile delivery market, this is huge. And the sky's the limit here. So you can have, for example, if we take Nova Pošta, they're planning to have 50,000+ lockers in Ukraine alone, which is a country at war, and they have, I think, already more than 10,000 lockers. And you can have 20-30,000 lockers in a city like Paris, for example, or Berlin, or London, for that matter. So we see that it can be really huge. Yeah, there are of course a lot of tricky. There's so many issues there as well, especially specifically with great places. The rent is maybe quite expensive, but anyway, we see there's huge potential. Yeah, we're looking into that, and we already got the first, let's say, go ahead from one of the partners for in one of the cities of Germany. I will not say the city, but yeah, we will start one network already. This way or the other, we still don't know many things. We're still hungry and foolish, but yeah, we're headed there, and we'll see where it brings us.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. It was really interesting to talk to you, and I'm sure that our viewers get a lot of useful insight from that. Also, I will put the connection details in video description, so you can connect Valerie directly for the future inquirers. So thank you again, Valerie, and
Thank you so much.
have a nice summer.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you for having me. Great pleasure to talk to you all the time. Yeah, and looking forward to probably your next. If you uh, invite us more. So yeah, we'll be very open.